All right, so I was saying before how
I feel like we need to move the big can out of the way.
because it's getting in the shot.
Oh, it's still in the shot, but it's out of the shot.
Yeah, so I was just as I was saying, I feel like you would like Atlanta because it's I don't call it highbrow, I don't call it lowbrow, I call Atlanta midbrow. Atlanta's a midbrow show. Yo, don't be afraid to keep the mic close to your face because
See, I'm used to like when I was, oh my God, we're on a podcast. I'm used to when I was a kid, like where there wasn't like normalization.
yeah.
And you basically had to hold the mic out here when you were talking very loud, and then hold it like up
Right
here
there.
when
That's
you're talking very close.
that's the ideal distance.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, potentially, I don't know if this is guaranteed, but this would be Terrorisk episode 33. Welcome everybody, and I'd like to introduce a very awesome guest. I would say this is kind of like a historical milestone for the podcast. If this does air, I would say this is you're like the first female on the podcast.
Oh my God.
I mean, I don't really care. It's not a thing. It's not like I planned. I'm just saying it's like, yeah, I'll have reasons why, no woman has been on.
First woman ever on a podcast.
You're the first woman on a podcast ever. You made history.
Hell yeah.
I wonder who was the first woman on a podcast.
I mean, you're checking a lot of boxes here. We have like
Asian.
Woman. Yeah, Asian. I was just going to do for myself.
Do you identify as queer?
Well, I was getting to that part. I'm like, you have woman, you have black, you have biracial, you have queer, and depending on who you talk to, you have Italian.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I know Italians were a protected class, but Italians need to get over themselves.
I love Italians, but
I do too.
But it's like I love Italians. I like that they exist, but I don't think like I was ever built to be in a relationship with them because it's just the values aren't there. And it's not even like I blame Italians. It's the Eastern in me. It's like once you're a person of Eastern descent, it's just so it's you're automatically cut off from fully integrating with like so many cultures because they're just gonna. Here's the thing. Asians are like ultimate pragmatists. And when it comes to people of a romantic Latin-based culture, like, an Italian culture, they just don't get certain things. Like, all right, for example, a Chinese mother, right, in a very dire situation, let's say she has, 2 kids.
Okay.
And like she's in a dire situation. Like let's say the kid's father is dead, off in a war or some whatever. And she's left with these 2 kids, and she has a choice. She could either keep both the kids and allow both of them to die of starvation or some horrible fate, or just leave one of the kids behind so the other one can live. She would do that. And that's like a quintessential example of like Asian pragmatism to me. I can't think of any other culture that would ever consider that as like a real, if you look before like any, like for example, like any Roman Christian whatever culture, they would shun you. Like you burn in hell eternity for that. So it's like I think about that and it's like, yeah, Asians are the ultimate pragmatists because that is something that's that sensibility is sort of Asian specific, right?
Okay.
First of all, you got to be able to have the rationality in the sense to overcome your emotional attachment to your offspring to be able to do the math that way. Because I mean, if you look at any other case where, like, people let their feelings take over, then it doesn't really work out well for everybody in the long run, right? I'm sorry, that was a heavy topic too. I should have.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I should have saved that.
I don't have my own perspective on that.
How do you feel about it? What are your thoughts on it?
I mean, I can speak from the side of like, yeah, I can't think of anyone in my family. Mom, I hope you're not the exception. Anyway, I can't think of anyone in my family who would make that decision. So maybe it is true, but I don't know.
Well, let's say it's your decision. I mean, if you had that choice, like, do the math. Like, would you rather lose 2 kids or save 1?
Well, fuck, that's a hard choice to make.
It's not. It's only hard because it's such a simple choice. That's the only reason why it's hard. It's a brutally simple choice.
Well, the hard thing would be
which kid? Which kid? Yeah. So I would pick the.
Yeah.
I would pick the genetically superior one. I would pick the one that got the better.
But I mean, barring like extreme examples. I guess it doesn't even have to be extreme, but like, yeah, then you have to decide like let's say best case scenario, you just have two kids with no health problems. How do you make that choice? Do you go with the older one because they're more self-sufficient?
The younger one has more potential, obviously.
Or the younger one because you can throw them at the wall and they'll live. Like, I don't know.
And they have more potential. Like, they're more softer. Like clay.
But
They're
I'm
more
thinking
moldable.
like in terms of like, oh God, this is fucked. Like a newborn who can't hold up their own head versus like a
Well, yeah.
4-year-old
Well,
who can.
okay. If they're so young where they're a liability, then yes. If they're that much of a liability, then you gotta let them go.
Okay.
And you know what? It's not even necessarily condemning them to death. You never know. Just leave them there, and someone else might pick up the kid.
But the emotional, like that's still there. I don't know. I think.
Well, yes, that's
very hard.
Okay, so did you ever see? Well, I told you about the Joy Luck Club. You know what? We'll watch it together. I will watch the Joy Luck Club.
Okay.
And then maybe you'll feel compelled to read the book because I don't know how much of an avid reader you are. I'm definitely nowhere near
I
as
read
much.
a lot of nonfiction, but like I'm definitely bad with fiction.
I'm pretty sure the Joy Luck Club is semi-autobiographical. Autobiographical. I don't know.
Okay. That helps. Yeah.
Yeah. Shit. I just want to reiterate how much I'm so grateful that you're willing to even give this a shot. Like literally, you're the first woman to ever really like say like, you know what? Fine, I'll take on the Terrorisk platform.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Terrorisk.
No, cool. You definitely got that. You got that clout. That's cool. And I mean, I've covered this in past episodes, but it's just really nice, like looking back and looking how much it's progressed. And I'll admit, like it hasn't been the smoothest path, like, but I'm glad I kept it going, and I'm glad I'm able to. To me, it's like at worst, it'll just be like bootleg therapy for my friends. Like they could just come on here and it's like, you got some shit on your chest that you don't give a fuck who sees it, and you just want to get it out there just to know that you said your piece. And they'd be like, yeah. So I'll be like, all right, say your shit. And they would say it. They would tell their story because you have to have your story told, regardless of how monotonous it is. I think everyone has to have it told.
No, I agree with that.
It's a good thing. And, regardless, no matter how mundane someone's regular life story, I feel like there's always a lesson to be gleaned from it,
Yeah, I think, by virtue of us all.
You can never look at a
planet.
You can never look at the result of a person's life for any amount of years and say there's no lesson to be learned here. There's always a lesson to be learned in hearing a person's life story, Always, 100%. So I always appreciate that. And that's another reason why I keep doing this. And like, that's another reason why I feel like I could so passionately like keep up a conversation like on the mic like this, regardless of who I'm with. Because I'll always be able to, and I said this in the last episode too, I was like, podcasting is a lot like dating, right? If you're on a date, don't ever worry about running out of things to say, because you don't have to say really anything. All you got to do is just ask questions and at least act really interested, because no matter who you deal with, a person's favorite topic of conversation is always going to be themselves, period. The question is who can figure it, who understands that more than the other person.
I don't know if I entirely agree with that.
It's true, though.
That statement.
It's true.
The most interesting thing is themselves. I think.
Their favorite topic of conversation is themselves.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I agree with that. I think there's a lot of people in the world who want to talk about anything but themselves.
I don't know about that. I think the people, especially the people who don't openly talk about themselves, the ones who most yearn to, because they never get an opportunity to.
But just because they have the opportunity doesn't mean they take it.
Well, it has to be a worthy opportunity,
Oh, God. Well, at that point, it's just like...
It has to be for example, I feel like this all the time. Like you ever get the feeling like I don't even want to talk about myself unless it's actually to someone who gives a shit, right? Like ask me. Like this whole conversation, all you've been doing is talking about yourself. You haven't asked me one thing about my life. And I don't want to unless you fucking ask. Because it's a point of like principle, right? Like here I am listening to you talking about your whole fucking life story, all your dysfunctions. And not once have you asked, Chris, what are you into? Chris, what do you like to do? Chris, do you make music? Like I've been through situations like that and it's very unpleasant, isn't it?
Yeah. Or worse, I think... So I remember I was on this one date when I was 18 with this guy. He was a voice actor. He was 26.
Really?
Yeah. there's a lot of voice actors in the world.
I mean, that's such a. To me, it's like such a nuanced and beautiful art form.
No, I mean it is, but I'm just saying we're in New York. There's a lot of voice actors. Speaking as somebody who's done even in my own life, I've done a lot of voiceover stuff, and I'm like, no, but actual voice artists, like that's a whole separate thing that yeah. But anyway,
yeah.
he was like a legit, not just like doing shit for like tech companies voice over person. And I went on a date with him, and what I said to my friends as a positive point, I was 18, was, yeah, like 5 hours went by and I realized I had just listened to him talk this whole time and was so interested. And we didn't date long. I mean, it was an OK Cupid date. So it doesn't really, I mean, it wasn't, yeah, it was the first, 3 dates or something like that with somebody you don't know. And
Typical. It sounds like a typical New York two ships passing by in the night kind of situation.
Yeah. Now I don't fuck with online dating. Now I'm just like, I need 3 references at least and a letter of recommendation. Like, I'm going to have the phone calls with the references, and then I'm going to review your resume. I'm totally joking.
I just flirt with girls, and if they want to bang, I just bang it.
I just exist, and then I'm single, and then maybe I'm not, or maybe I'm in a situationship, or maybe I'm in a committed relationship, and I'm just like, whatever happens, happens.
You'll preach straight up.
Yeah.
That's what it is, really.
I'm very okay being single. Yeah.
Yo, me too.
I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
There's a lot of I don't know about you.
You know what? It's hard. It's hard.
Relationships are a serious thing.
I think being single is hard when you don't have confidence in yourself. Being single is very, very tough when you don't know if you're objectively a desirable person. Because I know it sounds shitty, but let's acknowledge that there is such a thing as the sexual marketplace. There are quantifiable values that people really do reduce the potential of a sexual partner. It's true. There really are just very simple, easily identifiable categories that people just lean towards. And it's a very hard thing to contend with if you're growing up and you're young and you don't know anything and you don't really understand your own sense of agency and personal identity. And then you grow up and you become an adult, and it becomes a lot easier because you figure out what you don't like and the shit you don't tolerate and the shit you do and the shit you understand and empathize with and connect with. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just reiterating that it's tough to grow into. It's not just something that we had to overnight suddenly got, right? We had to learn it through trial and error and reflection and all that shit.
Yeah, I think that's relatable to an extent. When I was younger, I think I was more obsessed with the idea of being in a relationship when it seemed like this unattainable thing, because when I was younger, for a number of reasons, being in Florida, being 5'9" and not being white did not put me high on the hotness totem in high school.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put that. Which is to say that for a long time, I thought I was just the ugliest fucking thing ever. I was I don't think I'm stupid, but I think I'm ugly. And it's good that I'm not stupid because I'm ugly. So I've got this going for me.
Okay.
But then as soon as I realized that wasn't a thing, it's had a big kind of thing where I was I'm going to date a million people, whatever. And then I was actually, I don't really enjoy doing this. And actually, yeah, to what you were saying, I have confidence in that I don't need to constantly pursue dating or something like that. It's I'm not ready to date, so I'm not going to date.
Yeah.
And when I'm ready to date, then I'll date. And if somebody's into me, so they are. And that's it. And I guess I have a confidence in if that's my end game of wanting to settle down with somebody, then that's something I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe I won't want to. I don't know. But definitely, yeah, when I was like younger and like hyper insecure, it
Yo.
was like a lot more of a pressing thing.
It's like, I mean, if you're smart, if you think a lot, you understand you only got one life to live, and you don't know if you want to waste your life like starting a family, or if you want to waste your life not starting a family. And that's just something that's personal to everybody, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like even people I went to school with and stuff, you know, some when they were younger, accidentally, but more so people I know my age now who are like married and intentionally having kids. That is so fucking weird to me.
Really?
Like
I think it's fun. It sounds
no,
fun.
like not like weird bad, but it's
Yeah.
just like, whoa.
It must be fun. Like, it's like a project to them. It's like collabing on a track, you know? It's like, yeah, let's do this. All right.
Instead of a track, you get a baby.
Yeah. It's like, yo, let's get the sheets laundered that day. We'll get the right stuff out. We'll get scented candles. We'll turn the right music on. We'll watch a movie. We'll eat the right foods, you know? Like, we'll have snacks. Like, you know, it's like a project. You know, I feel like, especially nowadays, like, the current generation has more of that sensibility. Whereas back then, you know, like our parents' generation, they were probably like savages about it. You know, now we could have fun and be like more cynical and be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make it goofy. And so we could tell our kids like, yeah, we impregnated you while SpongeBob was on. Like, you know, like we made you.
We
Like,
impregnated you while SpongeBob was on. Oh my God.
yeah. So it's like, imagine. So yeah, like I feel like that's going to happen more often where it's like, it's going to be happy. It's going to be nice. It's going to be cute. I think so. I have faith. I'm an optimist at the end of the day. I'm very, very, very cynical, sure. But I think ultimately I'm an optimist.
Here's a question though. Do you have a baby making music playlist?
No.
Like a sex playlist?
No, I'm the type of guy who has like a death playlist. Like these are the songs like if I was
Okay, same.
yeah, like if
But-
I was running into my death with like a katana in my hand, like yeah, these are the songs I'd want playing. That's my playlist, you know?
I have said, I guess I've never said this to you, but I have always said, like, at my funeral, at the service, I want to hear Blue Dabba Dee by Eiffel 65.
Okay.
And whether you're spreading my ashes out or for some reason somebody in my family wants to bury my embalmed body, which I don't want, but like if for some reason somebody wants to put a shit ton of money into that, go for it. I'm dead. I don't care.
You know what I really want?
I insist that Sandstorm by Darude is played while I'm lowered into the ground. Like, basically, I have turned my hypothetical funeral into a shit post.
Yeah.
Like, I have also said that the funeral, like, should open up with, you know when it's game over in Mario, like Super Nintendo Mario? No, it's do.
Oh, yeah. That's a sad one.
That's how we have to open it with. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's like I'm dead. I don't want, I mean, people would be sad, but like I want people to laugh because like, God damn it. Like somebody dies. That's sad. Like, let's make jokes. Like, I guess if I died, it's like, I take things seriously, but because I take a lot of things seriously, I make a lot of jokes and I love memes. And why should that not be represented in my death?
Well, what you were talking about was like post-death. I mean, like for me, it's like what I would be experiencing right before my death. So it's like, you know, if I was surrounded by a bunch of bad dudes who were aiming to kill me and there was no way for me to leave, I would want to at least be able to, like while I fight for my life until my last breath, I'd want to at least be hearing the song Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
So I would want to listen to that while I fight for my death. And then like I could at least tell everyone to go fuck themselves while they kill me. But, you know, after I die, I would just want, the only thing I care about is just having my ashes pressed into a diamond. So like maybe my son could hawk me from, you know, at a pawn shop for drugs or something.
Oh my goodness.
At least that's all.
Hopefully your son isn't doing drugs to the point where they need to go to a pawn shop.
I guess that's a good point. But I just want to serve some utility. And that's like the only utility I could think of where it's like, yeah, turn my ashes and press them into a diamond, you know, into a precious stone. You could sell it if you want, but hopefully you'll keep it. You know, like
Okay.
Would you keep a diamond of your like dead parents' ashes? Like
I mean, I wouldn't not.
Yeah, right?
It'd just be like, okay, I have this thing now. Like
what would you do with it? Would you put it in a necklace or set it in like jewelry?
I would just put it inside like a nice box and put
I would
it
set
somewhere
it
safe.
I would set it in jewelry or like a ring or something.
I don't really. It's funny because see, I wore a ring over here today, but it's in your bathroom because I took it off because bathroom. I don't wear jewelry, so like maybe I would, but like would I wear it? I don't know. Yeah, I'm bad at accessories, but
I like accessorizing, but I'm bad at accessories because I always lose them.
yeah. Yeah, like
But certain things, like I'm pretty consistent with, like watches. You know, I like watches, and I'm pretty good with watches.
I somehow managed to. Two things happened to this watch. So right before I moved to, that part's irrelevant. So I had this boyfriend. His name was Yuri. Hi Yuri. In the event that this goes viral,
Mm-hmm.
you never know. But I had this boyfriend. His name was Yuri. And for my birthday, one of my birthday gifts was he got me this watch. And it was really cool because, like, I guess over the course of however long, I'd gathered enough information about me to know that I didn't want something super dainty. Like, I'm kind of androgynous. Like, I like things in the middle. So I think he actually got me, like, what was, like, a men's, like, the actual watch part itself was men's, but
Yeah.
I'm
Just
still
speaking to the. Make sure you speak
Oh,
into the
sorry.
mic. Yeah.
Still female, so got, like, a custom band with it so it would actually fit me.
Yeah.
Like my wrist and everything. And two things happened with that piece of jewelry. The first one was I had it on a dresser and I like went to work, and when I came back, nothing from the ceiling, nothing fell on it. It was just broken. Like the thing was cracked. And I have no fucking clue how that happened.
It's definitely your roommate or whoever.
No,
is
no,
just...
no, 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 it wasn't. Like, so like it was actually because when I'd moved to Florida for that period of time, like there was like a couple of months where I technically was living with my mom. I was mostly living with him, but then I moved into my own place.
Mm-hmm.
But just wanted to get my footing being in a new city again.
Yes.
A new old city. So it was sitting on the dresser of like my childhood bedroom, which my mom wouldn't have just gone in and smashed the watch. That'd be a little weird.
Yeah.
So it essentially just broke. My theory is like being in Florida, she did not like to put on air conditioning and maybe the heat made it like expand or something. That's my theory, but that happened. And then somewhere between that and when I moved to New York, I lost the watch and I have no clue where it is. And I've asked her because it was in her house the last time I saw it. And I'm like, and I'm also like really good at holding on to stuff. And I'm like, where the fuck did this watch go? And it was a really nice watch.
Do you like watches?
I do. And I feel like I had a watch.
Oh, it's cool.
Oh, I technically had a Fitbit for a while. And I still have the warranty on it. And I need to mail it back because out of nowhere, I went to a company event. Similar thing where I think it was heat's fault. I wake up the next day after being at the company event and like the stupid thing is popping out of like the shell. So there's like wires exposed and I'm like, okay, I'm tachycardic and this is wrong. So I have literally put off for like over a year mailing it back. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have a 3-year warranty. There's still time. But also having a Fitbit is a bad idea if you have any sort of anxiety. Like, I won't even say, like, it's like, no, I am diagnosed with OCD. Maybe it was OCD. But having a thing on your wrist where you can look at your heart rate 24/7, and then you can open your phone and track it in any which way. Like, I've been putting off getting it fixed because I'm just like, yeah, that took up a lot of time.
All right, what about a future where, right, you have glasses with like a augmented reality overlay that just like shows you like analysis of everything
Just
and
my
like
BP constantly.
yeah, it's like you look at me and it's like dude, why is your heartbeat increasing? Are you lying to me? And then I'm just like, what the fuck? And my heartbeat gets even faster. And then you're like
my
what are you up
worst
to, Chris?
nightmare.
What the fuck
my
are you up to, Chris?
God.
Like, come on, man. Like, I can see you're sweating now. Oh wait, your precipitation levels are increasing. Why are you sweating for, boy? And I'll be like, take those glasses off, please. Like,
Oh my God. Yeah, basically. Like just this thing that tells you you're in like your surface level body temperature,
Yeah.
which the minute you have a fever, it does not do anymore because when I got the COVID vaccine, it mysteriously didn't track anything. And I'm like, okay. Because I react really badly to the vaccines, but that means it's working extra good.
Yeah.
Apparently.
No, it's good. Wait, so you've never have you experienced COVID yet?
I did get it. I got it for the first time earlier in, this year.
How did it treat you?
So it treated me very well, but I got it 2 weeks after getting what was probably an extra booster shot. The CDC went back and forth in terms of, as somebody checking the website, is it people with underlying conditions or 65 plus immunocompromised? It couldn't make up its fucking mind, but I went in there originally when it said like underlying condition, got turned away while it was still saying I was eligible. Then like a couple days later, it said I wasn't. And I was like, well, when I went to go for my appointment that I was wrongly turned away from per CDC guidelines, it said I should get it. And then I was like, this seems like common fucking sense. Oh, God, talking about COVID on something that could go on the internet, that's going to work out well.
Oh, come on. Nobody gives a shit enough about this thing.
Well, you never know. But what do you call it? Yeah, so anyway, I basically just went to a CVS. They didn't even ask for my ID. They gave me the jab. I have 5 COVID shots in total now.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone should have at least 4.
You're like the guinea pig. You're like the fucking... I have 1. The only one I got was a Johnson & Johnson shot.
Oh, shit.
That's it.
Ooh.
To me, like...
No.
to me, like, COVID is like AIDS. If I had it, I wouldn't want to know. I'm kidding.
Wait, how much do you know about my... Anyway.
No. I heard that when I was in the group home, there was this guy, Rudy. He was like 19 years old. And he was with us in the group home. We were like, you're a grown-ass man. But anyway, we all had to do like a medical diagnostic every like once in a while. And then we all had to get tested for shit. And then Rudy was like, yeah, man, shit. If I had AIDS, I wouldn't want to know. And that just blew my mind. Like, the fact that someone actually said those words, I was like...
Yeah, I'm like, you're going to find out pretty quickly.
I was like, what
to pretty quickly.
But still, the fact... Like, because that just, like, instilled in my teenage brain that there's people out there who think like that. I was like, holy shit. That's fucked. That is fucked up.
Yeah.
Imagine saying like, shit, if I had AIDS, I wouldn't want to know. It's like, dude, that is like literal lump and
it's like completely like treatable and like you can, nowadays,
God,
I could go down a rabbit hole with that. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been treatable since like probably consistently.
I mean,
like,
now
the
you got people like
2000s.
fetishizing that shit. You got people saying like, I think it's cute.
I mean, that was a thing
deficiency.
back in before there was even,
I was
like,
joking.
PCP.
Nobody thinks that fucking cute.
Not cute, but like that was like that's a thing. Like people purposely trying to get infected.
Oh no,
that was a thing at one point.
Well, it's because they want to
time.
belong to a community, and that is definitely a community of people.
I don't know what it was, but yeah, that's a thing that existed. But what was I saying originally before we got onto the topic of AIDS?
Oh, you were talking about... Fuck, I'm usually really good at this. Before the AIDS, we were talking about something like... something communal, I think. It was after...
COVID.
COVID,
we were talking about COVID. Oh, yeah. So I got it, but I got it 2 weeks after getting a booster shot. So I guess like some context with me... It's fun because I've been getting early COVID shots, being like something's wrong with me, and the longer along I go, the more I realize, oh wait, it's actually like not even me BSing a little. It's like actually no, it's good that I'm getting it early because I have problems.
Yeah.
So right now my diagnosis is like they know for sure symptomatically I have neuropathy in my legs. It's not like super severe. Like obviously I can walk, and they're like, dysautonomia, which is like a fancy way of saying your autonomic nervous system is really fucked up, and it could be for a number of reasons. But then they wanted to leave me at that, and I'm like, well, here are some risk factors I don't have, and like, fuck you, it's the end of your shift. I can tell you're not going to rush me out of here in 5 minutes. And also because I was uninsured for so long, I did research before I went to any doctor's appointments because I'm going to drop $300. I want to go out with some kind of answer.
Well, can I ask you something? Suppose like you got...
so the other half of that is just like now I have to go to a rheumatologist because it's probably an autoimmune condition. But yeah.
Okay, that's a lot.
So like when it's like with COVID and stuff, it's like I knew half of that at the time, and I was like really happy when it wasn't serious.
Yeah.
Like I just had a really milder than my COVID reaction and everything. But now I'm like, okay, I haven't had a booster in the past few weeks. Should I be a bit more serious? I don't know.
All right, so suppose you were perfectly healthy and you had no diseases or no conditions to ever have to worry about, right?
Yeah.
What would you do then that you wouldn't be able to do now?
Oh God. A long list of things because I wouldn't just be tired all the time.
So what would you be doing?
Let's see. So in my job and everything, I think I'd probably be able to put not only more effort into my current job.
Oh,
which I'm
come
doing
on. You
fine
all right,
at.
so if you have more to give
No,
to,
like
you really-
I have a list.
Okay.
I have a list.
So,
okay?
but just don't spare any for your job. Don't give me that shit. Come on. Do better than that.
I'm going to part 2. Okay. So more into my job in the sense of like exploring other areas for like if I want to branch outside of that. But also, I like money, so why not continue some kind of side hustle?
Okay.
And while I'm doing my side hustle, dedicate time to like more artistic things like music and things like that. But also, just like, I don't know. I just like want to probably read more and learn about more things because the idea of being able to walk into any conversation and if I so choose, be able to contribute to it is appealing.
Okay, why? Why is it appealing? To what end is it appealing?
Because it's not fun to like sit while other people are having a conversation and be like, I don't know what they're talking about. And I think if I ask, it might actually be worse.
Okay, so then why is it fun when you actually can contribute to the conversation?
I think because probably a lot of how
It's very simple. You don't have to like make it a thing. It's
No,
real-
no, it's not a thing. I mean, I think for me, the way I build relationships, like let's look at our friendship. We bond a lot over a specific topic, which is like music and audio production and things like that.
and psychology and like deep social structures
Things
and
like
like
that. And that's like every
things like that, like life itself, right?
Yeah, but like just like with all of my friendships, a lot of times the entry point is like a thing I have in common with
a niche
them
thing.
or
Okay,
something
yeah,
like that.
fair
It's
enough.
never like, oh, we're all just casually talking over dinner.
Yeah, what I'm
and-
saying is like those little niche things are just like avenues for people to connect and realize like, okay, we're actually all still
So
the
I
same
guess
people.
like a good way to like summarize it would be just like having more capacity for niche avenues.
Awesome. So
I'm gonna
no,
dominate all of the avenues.
No, that's awesome because you literally just came to the exact conclusion that I hoped you would, which is you enjoy the pursuit of knowledge so you could understand more things, so you could connect with more people on like their level and then actually be able to build community. And you want to be able to build community because building community,
Okay, yeah.
because honestly, it's just in my opinion, smart people build things. And like I feel like the things that you're into, the things that you want to pursue knowledge of, is really ultimately in pursuit of connecting with people. And in connecting with people, you build community. So you should
fair.
run with that because when you're able to build community, what you're essentially doing is you're building spiritual shelter for those who are wayward and think a certain way that you think. And we all know what it feels like to think a certain way and feel very, very, very alone in our thoughts until you realize you're not alone in that train of thinking. It's just most people are suppressed in thinking that way. So that's a very powerful thing. And, like one of the things we do is build shelter because it's one basic human need. And yeah, we may have physical shelter, but that doesn't always mean we have like, emotional shelter, intellectual shelter. Like we want to know we connect with people, not just on like a visceral, physical, material level. We also want to be able to connect on like an ideological, spiritual level, like, so that's why I think like it's worth it for you specifically to acknowledge that, the real value in your pursuit of like knowledge and different avenues of life is because ultimately you want to connect with more people, right?
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. That's what we're social animals, right? We need to do that, all of us. And that's like part of our responsibilities. Well, another reason why I like podcasting, because podcasting kind of only greases that wheel, like ultimately in the long run. So I feel like more people should get used to it. And like, I mean, if this is what it takes to just build like kind of like a digital media content platform to just like showcase like what it looks like to have just a conversation with a person, then, it's valuable. And it's also like, it's kind of like, it's like the same. It's like the same thing. Like if you stumble across like a random podcast like this, it's like it's like finding like someone's random diary, you know, in like some junkyard or something. You're like, what the fuck? And you start reading through it, and it could be the most mundane shit, but it's still fascinating because you're like, you know, this is like a whole life, and this guy never meant for anyone to see this, and I'm reading this right now, and I found this in some garbage pile. Like it's crazy. That's actually happened to me before, you know. So it's like that really opened my eyes to like the beauty and like, you know, of the most, even the most mundane individual human life. I'm like, there's so much to learn from everything because we're all people at the end of the day, and you could have the most interesting life or the most boring life, and you'll find that you have very similar insecurities, you know, very similar hopes, very similar frustrations. Like, it's a beautiful thing. I think that's very connecting and very universal, and it gives me hope. It makes me very optimistic about our ability to connect with each other and our need to connect with each other. That sounds like some really corny shit, but you know, it's just me speaking my truth, you know. Like,
I mean, I agree with it. I also just think, generally speaking, like, it would be weird if the majority of us didn't want to communicate with each other. I don't really think that's how the human race is built.
But we're slowly being.
Like, with all of these people who are like, I don't like people. It's like, no, you fucking do.
But I mean, no, seriously, no. It's interesting you point that out because, like, it seems like, like now.
Grab my vape, but I'll be back.
All right.
No, I'm like just going over there.
Okay, so what I was saying was like it's all the more observable, especially in like the modern age when it's like you have all these degrees of separation now, especially when you got like the internet and like, you know, mediums to be able to say like, I could say whatever I want to this person, but I'll never have to be in front of them in person, you know, like I'll never have to deal with them. I'll never have to fucking like have that real life sword to the throat moment, so we could just go on and on forever. And so I think we take for granted like just how much we're kind of losing our grasp on sincere human connection. And like, you say it now, like, you know, we could only go so far without human connection, but like compared to like, you know, what it used to be, like we're only becoming more and more detached from each other in like all the worst ways. Like,
it's like, I don't want to completely disagree. Oh, sorry. I don't want to completely disagree with you, but I feel like there's this tendency of like, oh, we're all more online on our phones. We're not like talking to each other face to face. Whereas now we're seeing this shift toward like, you can build a community like in an internet space. And especially if you think about people who don't have that in their everyday life, like, or rather like, immediately in person, that's very valuable. Like, it's like, okay, is TikTok cringe? Yes. Is it doing some horrible shit? Yes. But are there people who have nowhere else to go, or frankly just people who want to have fun with each other like online?
But I don't think
like,
that's
have a good time.
I don't think that shit is healthy. I think to me the most healthiest.
But then ideally you take that off the app itself. But what I mean,
but either way, it's like the fact that that's like a thing. It's all see to me. None of that.
To me, it's just like rather than like having the immediate company of everyone, like your next door neighbor and down the block. It's like you can talk to anyone from all over the world. And I guess also that comes from the perspective of somebody who like had online friends from a pretty young age and even did meet up with some of them in person. Like, you know, I was like a freaking nerd. I had a DeviantArt and I met up with my DeviantArt friend. Like, you know, like I was like 15 the first time and he was like 18 and our parents talked and like I went and visited and it's just
fine.
like, I don't know. Like, so I feel like,
I just think like, the real value behind like connecting on the internet has nothing to do with personal shit. I think the real personal shit will always be like, you know, in person. But like the best interactions between humans on the internet, in my opinion, are the informative ones. For example, all this shit with music production and production in general, video editing, podcasting, there's no way I would have been able to do any of this if it wasn't for YouTube. Whether it's me learning how to fix a flat, whether it was me learning how to cook Korean dishes, whether it was me learning how like fucking to put together like a gaming PC. Like I wouldn't have been able to do any of this shit. I wouldn't have been able to know what to buy in terms of music equipment unless I actually saw in-depth reviews, not like judging it if it's good or not, but actually like seeing the features of what and or the other. And like that's where I see the value. Like I don't really care so much for like, oh, like this makes me feel so alone because they have the same emotions I do. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. But I think like that could just as easily turn toxic. What's really hard to turn toxic is like tangible shit. It's like, wow, you're teaching me how to fucking like where my catalytic converter is on my car, or you're teaching me how to like swap the stereo out, or you're teaching me how like hardware and signal chains work. You're teaching me how fucking FL Studio works. Like that is where I feel like the most value and the most benefit an individual can have from the internet comes from. And it's like, it's sad to say, and ideally the social shit, like the social media shit, should be a great boon to us as a species. But from what I've observed, it's only done so much more harm. All the good internet shit comes from instructive shit. It's like, it's literally like a digital encyclopedia. And that's beautiful to me. That's like wonderful. It's our evolution. We evolved that way as a species. Like the people who wear GoPros while doing everything are doing God's work. Like because of those people, I learned how to like do so many things. Like it's insane. It's like if it wasn't for that, if I was born even like 50 years ago, I wouldn't have had that and life would have sucked. Like I would never have learned how to DJ. I would have never learned how to play Sublime songs on the guitar. I would have never learned how to fucking like I would have never learned how to sidechain my fucking bass to my kick. I would have never learned how to use OBS. I would have never learned how to like certain cheat codes work and mods work in video games. Like it's crazy how far we got on that level of the internet. But when I think of like the social media shit, all I see is regression. All I see is people going backwards. Like, all right, now we're becoming more retarded. Like we gotta pump the brakes. Like, so yeah. I shouldn't have whipped out the heavy R word. I have a guest, and I should have been more conscious of that.
I was just like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just no. It just came out. I should have fucking. You know what? I'm gonna edit that out. I'm gonna bleep that out for your sake.
Bleep.
Yeah, I'll bleep that out. No, it's. I'll just. What it really sounds like, you just cut audio and then like for like a split second.
For a split second.
Yo, tell me the timestamp. What time are we at? Look next to the red dot, so I'll know.
We are at. Oh wow, we're at 42:15.
All right, so we only have like a little more than 15 minutes left anyway.
Damn.
But yeah, so it's towards the end. So I'll bleep out the R word for your sake, okay? So you're not attached to that.
I mean, if you want to say it, say it.
No.
It doesn't come out of my mouth.
That's fair enough. All right, fine. No. I appreciate that. I respect that. Thank you for that. Because that's a thing I can respect. To hold people accountable for their own shit. And I get that. And
if for some reason, like somebody
there was
saw
no
this
way
video and was like, "It's your fault. This person set
no,
the R for."
Nobody could, because like that's like that. Nobody could argue that.
That would be very strange.
That would be a very poor
and I
argument.
would just be like, "Okay."
No, that would be a pretty poor argument. You're right. But also, it's like that's another thing about like podcasting. It made me more conscious about like consensus of like verbiage and like how like what's appropriate and not to say. But it hasn't been hard because like honestly, straight up, like I'll be real. Like when I used to do this with people only from like long distances, it was very hard to like keep it civil. But when I do it in person, like it's a lot. It goes a lot. Oh, he likes you.
Oh, hi.
Oh my God, you're the first like real stranger he did. Oh, okay.
See, as soon as I acknowledged, wait, what's his name?
Mochi.
As soon as I acknowledged,
yeah,
Mochi,
you're like the first stranger he really willingly just hopped up on. That's really
because
cute.
I just haven't paid attention to him, and then I did, and he was like, "JK."
Yeah, he's a little bastard like that. Yo, you should feel honored.
I'm a dog person. Like, I'm that person.
Me too. I'm a dog person.
I like send so many videos of corgis to people.
Isn't that fucked up and ironic that like between my, I'm not gonna. All right, whatever. Just I'm not like the fact that I was not particularly a cat person. I was more of a dog person, and yet my cat, like me and my cat, like we have such a great relationship. It's just funny, and it's like I think what that really means is like, it's not that like. It's not about being a cat or dog person. It's like I'm in tune with animals, but I do think I have a bit of a bias because like if you do prefer dogs, you have no choice but to be more in touch with an animal instinct as opposed to a social instinct. Because cats, I feel like cats, you spend more time socially communicating with them. With dogs, you spend more time like viscerally and animalistically communicating with them, you know? Like dogs, you scold, you say no, and they feel bad. Whereas cats, if you scold them, they're not going to give a shit.
Yeah.
But I think because of that, like, it's like this, like, people who start off as cat people, like, I feel like they have a less shot of getting to know their cat as opposed to people who start off as dog people and are willing to become cat people. Because if you start off as a dog person, you're more in tune with the animal element. And if you look at a cat, you're like, all right, you might be a little more sophisticated mentally than a dog, but you're still a fucking, like, a little furry shit, you know? Like,
That's exact. Yep. Yeah. Dogs can be smart though.
of course, like, yo, dude, I've seen brilliant dogs. Like, I knew this one
like
guy.
Sebastian, my little chihuahua gaslights my mom. I'm not even joking.
Was a manipulative little shit. Just because they're smart doesn't mean they're not shitty little fucking fuckheads. Like,
That's what I'm saying. I love Sebastian.
he's an abusive boyfriend.
He literally like.
He's your abusive, like.
He's a chihuahua. He knows he's small. He knows he's adorable.
He's your abusive uncle in the house. He's like, yeah.
No, he's an abusive boyfriend. If anything, he would be an abusive boyfriend.
Oh no.
But here's the thing with Sebastian, and so I'm just gonna tell it from beginning to end. So my mom, like when one of the houses I grew up in didn't have central heat, so it was like the whole space heater oven situation. But my mom would have to turn that off when she went to work, and there's the chihuahua. This is in Florida, so it doesn't get cold too often, and there's some questionable stuff in there. Let's just ignore that. Anyway.
Okay.
No, questionable in terms of like the space heater. Anyway. But Sebastian basically like would shiver when he was cold, except like I've seen this dog in snow now. I don't know why, but like this little 8.5-pound dog just doesn't get cold. I've realized maybe a little bit in certain contexts.
Yeah, I've seen always. I usually see chihuahuas shiver.
Yeah, he's not like naturally shaky. He doesn't really shake much, but he shook when he was cold, and he kept shaking. And then one day it was 85 degrees out, and my mom was like, he would shake before my mom left to go to work, and she'd feel bad and, maybe wait a little.
Nah,
longer.
he was being a fucking manipulative little
And
shit.
then one day it was 85 degrees out, and he did his little shake routine, and she's like, wait a minute, you little shit. But here's where it gets better. So now she's like married to this guy. And I'm there like there for the holidays, and I wake up one morning and like I'm very helicopter parenty with Sebastian because
he deserves it, that little fuck.
He deserves it, and he was also attacked. So like I'm always protective. So like I go out and I check him. Like I'm like I need to make sure he's not cold because I was cold and I get cold. And he didn't seem cold, and I was like I'll put a sweater on. My mom's husband comes in and is like, oh, I'm going to turn the heat on. Sebastian's cold. And I'm like, I checked him. No, he's not. I think it's okay in here. Puts it on, leaves. I look over. This little guy is fucking shaking. And I'm like, it's getting warmer in here and you're shaking. So I pick him up. He's shaking. He stops. And then I'm like, let me just do this little test. And I'm like, Sebastian, are you cold? Shakes. I have this on camera, and I showed it to everyone who thought I was like fucking crazy. And I'm like, notice how when I say that he shakes, and then he stops, and I say it again, and he shakes. Anyway, cats are stereotyped as smart. Dogs are very fucking smart too, and they will gaslight you like an abusive boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I always say I'm glad Sebastian is an 8-pound chihuahua and not like, a person who can run for office, because it's cute when he's that small, but he's kind of like a little bit of a psychopath.
Yeah, no, I like dogs though.
He doesn't bite though, so like it's okay.
But I do like dogs. I like to me, dogs are our responsibility. First of all, dogs shouldn't fucking exist. We never should have made dogs. First of all,
Sometimes I look at Sebastian and I'm like, your ancestor was this big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really
But
fucked
I
up.
love him. Also, Chihuahuas live longer than like any other dog on average. Like Sebastian's 16 and in his prime. Like,
Yeah, just running around like barking at
yeah,
you, judging
literally, he
you
can still outrun me. Not
with his
that
little
saying much.
bug eyes, like looking at you like you're a fucking piece
And like
of
all
shit.
3 teeth he has
Like
left.
you're a
yeah.
piece of shit. Look at you, you fucking pathetic asshole.
Oh
and
my
you're like,
God.
what the fuck, man?
He definitely thinks he's better than everyone.
That's what I'm saying. Like Chihuahuas are like that. They just got this. They got this elitist mindset.
But he's not like yappy. Like, you know what I mean?
They don't have to be. It's the way they fucking
He's
look
just
at
like
you.
chill. He just is like, if he likes you,
You
he
piece of
makes it
shit.
known. And if he doesn't like you, he doesn't have to do anything. You just know somehow. Like, I don't know. But yeah, no, he's definitely like, it's good that he's a small dog and not.
You know, I was heartbroken when I found out my favorite dog breed is one of the nastiest dogs, the Dachshund Hound.
Wait, Dachshunds, you mean?
Oh, sorry, Dachshunds, yeah.
Oh, Dachshunds, Yeah, those. Like the little
The
ones
hot
with tiny-
dogs.
the hot dogs, the wiener dogs.
They're my favorite dogs
Apparently
aesthetically.
they're aggro as fuck.
Yeah, they're so nasty. Every time I see
Well,
that,
imagine being this low to the ground. Like, that's
Well,
what I always say with small dogs.
you know they're like built to kill, right? They were bred to like go into holes and hunt for like moles and shit.
What are they gonna do? Bite the tendon in your ankle that hits the thing? To
No,
make you bleed to
they
death?
hunted rodents like moles and shit.
Oh.
That's why they were so long. They were bred to be long to go into the holes and like hunt them, tear them apart. They're nasty little shits, but they're so cute and funny looking. And I'm like, every time I see one in public, I always scream at the owner like, "Put some buns and mustard on that thing!" Like, and they look at me like, "What the fuck?" Like, what do you-
It's like, you know what kind of dog you have.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on. Like,
I love it.
if it wasn't called a wiener dog when you were a kid, you're lying.
Yeah.
That's a wiener dog. It looks like a hot dog.
but to
But
me,
same with corgis, like they're herding dogs, and they look ridiculous. They look so fucking silly. It's adorable. That's why I love them. But like, no, they're literally ankle biters. Like they herd sheep, and like the reason I fell in love with corgis was I was at a dog park. I was with Sebastian, who did not play with any of the dogs. Spoiler alert.
He was
we
a-
left because I had an anxiety attack, not because he got freaked out.
he was just chilling, judging all the other dogs. Like,
Exactly. But anyway, they were all just like playing and everything, and this fucking corgi comes in, and like, now I know herding dog.
they got
but
cute butts. Corgis got cute
They
butts.
do. And like, just literally commands, or I now realize herds this entire group of dogs. Like, my perspective, not knowing anything about a corgi, is I see this little stumpy, derpy dog come in and is just like, let's fuck this pit up, and just like literally, yeah, like every other dog. I actually have like a short clip of this. Is just like doing exactly what this corgi says, and I'm like, all of these dogs are so much bigger than this dog. Why are they listening to them?
Because the corgi has authority. He's like a Japanese, like a straight standing Japanese little guy coming into a room. He's like, and everyone's like standing at attention.
My goodness.
What?
But yeah, no.
No, I mean, I'm a Japanese martial artist practitioner. Okay, I know exactly what that looks like.
No, but I mean, like, no. But yeah, probably, basically.
Subaru.
Basically, this corgi just was like, fuck around and find out.
Yeah,
And,
he
like,
was-
It was just impressive. I was just watching it, and I'm like, I want to have a dog this sassy at some point in my life, where I'm like, you're so ridiculous looking, you're adorable, but wow, I'm impressed.
But I love German Shepherds.
They're sweet.
They're sad dogs because they live such a short amount of time.
It's the same thing with golden retrievers, like, who are like the goodest
Well,
dogs.
the golden retriever, yeah, they're good as dogs, but they're so fucking dumb. Like
I know, that's why I love
I
them.
get so mad at them at how fucking dumb they are.
But
Like
they,
they're
like-
stupid fucking.
Okay,
dumb
they're
br-
dumb, but also, like, I feel like if somebody ever yells at, if you ever have to yell at a golden retriever, like, the empathy scale on
No,
a
you
golden
never yell.
retriever-
That's why they're so frustrating because you can't yell at them. They
because
don't.
they just feel bad.
Yeah.
And they just are, like, really sweet.
But
And
the,
I'm
what, the
like,
what the hardest thing is like they get so happy, like they literally piss themselves. Like that's the problem with them. Like have you seen a golden retriever? Like they literally get so happy, overwhelmed with joy from seeing anybody, any human. They literally just urinate. Like
that's
dude.
what I'm trying to do in my next life.
But that's what that's what I'm saying. It's frustrating because you can't get mad at that. Otherwise, you're a terrible person. So you're just like, fuck you fucking jolly little shit. Like, so no, I can't deal with that. I'm too much of a cold-hearted, cynical bastard to ever live with a golden retriever. I could only live with a dog like yours, you know, like a shithead, like fucking
Like
Sebastian.
Sebastian, who's very sweet and will give you kisses all day. But
No, I need that judgmental chihuahua.
he judges. He doesn't yap.
No, I want a yappy chihuahua.
Oh,
As long as they
okay.
don't yap at me. And like if anyone walks in and chihuahua's like, I wouldn't yell at it.
What about a chihuahua who? So Sebastian's situation is, if you're a person, he loves you, but if you're a dog, you're gonna get yap yap yap, growl. Like,
oh no, that's
literally-
dangerous. That's really it's a pain in the ass because like people out in the public, if they own especially expensive dogs like elitists, they get really touchy about it. Like if you even look at their dog the wrong way, they're like, "I'll sue you." You know?
No, it's not like that. I mean, my mom and I both like have this thing with him where it's like, because a part of it is like he's small, and a part of it is like my mom was just walking him one day, and an unleashed larger dog, who apparently wasn't even aggressive once my mom pulled Sebastian away, looked at Sebastian, thought chew toy, and my mom pulled him away, and the dog was just like, "Hi, I'm a dog. Hi." And I don't understand that. The owner paid for all of Sebastian's medical bills, presumably because, didn't want the dog to be put under.
Yeah.
But also those were some expensive
Well,
medical bills.
now you're reminding me of something. I have a very controversial dog opinion.
Okay.
I love pit bulls.
Is that controversial at this point?
Yes.
Still?
Yeah.
I thought we all figured out that they're like sweetie pies, but
no,
you can train them to be killers.
That is not true. Pit bulls are absolutely dangerous fucking dogs.
They can be.
Yes. Not by nature of their birth, but like literally how
But yeah, if you put them in the right environment,
but
yeah,
if
they
you,
can fucking
but
kill
like
you.
if you raise like a mean chihuahua versus a mean pit bull, it's not the same.
Well, yeah. But also there's so many sweet pit bulls.
Of course, yeah. But there's so many sweet chihuahuas. Yeah, I get it. But it's not the same thing because of the raw material physicality.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is this. I love pit bulls because of that physicality. Like I love them. They're like land sharks. Like I'm like, I hear so many stories criticizing pit bulls like, oh, they maul their own owners. I'm like, listen, if you get mauled by your own pit bull, A, you never deserved that pit bull in the first place. You weren't worthy of it. B, like you're weak. You were too weak for it. It's a huge responsibility. I think if you're gonna keep an animal that powerful, it's almost akin to keeping like a pet bear or a pet tiger. Like you gotta you gotta understand it's not just some sweet little baby. Yeah, it can be. You could raise it to be, but you gotta be prepared for that possibility. So as a pit bull owner, you have that added responsibility. Like, you know what? I understand, like, I love this animal, but I understand its power, and if I have to, I'll put it down myself. That's a part of that responsibility, I know it's cruel and I know it's harsh, but think about it. Like, it's not the pit bull's fault that its instincts will light up when a little stupid, shitty, untrained Pomeranian comes up, starts yapping and biting at it. That pit bull wouldn't even mean to kill it. It would just happen to just pick it up, shake it a bit, and put it down, and before you know it, its spine's broken. Like, that's how powerful a pit bull is. Like, you got to take responsibility for that.
I actually don't even know what kind of dog attacked Sebastian. I know it was a larger one, but like how much bigger?
So here's my thing. Like,
Yeah.
I think like because I hate the people who are so like against pit bulls. They're like, put all pit bulls down. They shouldn't. I hate that.
First of all, pit bull is like not even official like breed. Pit bull is just like a mixture of a bunch of dogs that look vaguely like a pit bull.
I mean, no, there is a physicality to that general like genetic line.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's
They're
just
so
like when people
strong.
say that, like, it's like some uniform thing.
Imagine something that could jump 7 feet high and literally tear a truck tire to shreds. Like, that is fucking insane. Like, I can't think of another dog that could do that. But the fact that a pit bull can do
German
that.
Shepherd.
Also, another thing about German Shepherds that's scary is these guys, they would...
I mean, those are the ones the cops use. So
in special forces, they would give German Shepherds, like, special metal, steel, sharpened molars that are, like, shaped, like, so it doesn't hurt the dog, but anything they bite, it's like, it just tears, it cuts. That's what they use. Like, they put Kevlar vests on the fucking dogs, and they give it, like... And on the claws, too. They give, like, molten fucking, like... claws to the dogs, and the
dog still knows there's something there that they weren't born with, though.
Of course, but they're also bred to kill. They're trained to kill. They're trained not just to kill, but to enjoy the act of killing.
It's just so. I mean, I understand it happens, but I'm just like.
But if you think about it, where do they come from? They came from wolves, and wolves make a literal science.
But still, if you need a person to like train you to be a killer, then that's on that person for making you that way. Like if that dog could have been born and not
100%. You know what's sad? Like, you know, a good part of me agrees with ACAB. All cops are bad, but that also includes cop dogs. And it sucks because it's not their fault they're cop dogs, but they're still cop dogs. You know, there was actually a really good science thing. Like, you know, there's examples of cop dogs where like people of different ethnicities would, you know, be presented to the dog and the dog would have different reactions. It's like ACAB.
You train the dog to be racist.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what. It's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, you know,
I mean, it's not surprising, and I'm sure it's very easy to do.
Exactly. So it
yeah.
sucks, but it is what it is. You know, it's ACAB. Like, I'm sorry, ACAB means the German Shepherds too.
I know it does.
But then again, I've seen like beautiful German Shepherds who are so kind. And like I knew this one guy who had like a huge German Shepherd, and what he would do is he would like tie a rope to his refrigerator handle so the dog would like be able to get him beers. Like it pulls the door open, and the dog grabs a beer for him.
And service animals also who are trained to like grab like stuff out of the fridge, like people's medications, things like that as well, who are larger.
It's beautiful. If I had a dog that could get beers for me for the fridge, that's like the ultimate flex to anybody. It's like, yo, get me a beer. And it's like, ruff, and he just goes, and I give him a little treat, you know, like feed him jerky from my mouth. You know, that's another thing that's another thing I did with my boy. Like when he was a baby, I would like to like feed him treats from my mouth because it kind of, I feel like gives you that bond. And dogs really react well to that. Like just put some jerky in your mouth, give it to him, and that dog will love you forever. And that's another thing. Like I raised my animal, my cat, since he was like a little tiny baby. So I know, like I definitely imprinted on him. I think there's a very good responsibility for pet owners to like adopt old animals and stuff. But something about raising a pet, like when they're like little tiny cubs, you know, it's like it's like a different relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
I think about that where it's like I feel the fact that I can go to a humane society and have trouble staying there because I cry because I see the cards and why dogs and in my case dogs like are left behind and stuff like that. Even cats too, I saw, is really a testament to why I should not like ever like buy a dog from a breeder. But at the same time, I love corgis, which means the only way I'm going to, this is a fucked up thing.
You can't adopt a corgi from like,
this is where this gets interesting. And this is actually really fucked up. I can adopt a corgi, not through a breeder, because apparently there's a whole big ass crew of corgi owners, a whole demographic of them who just when
Facebook breeders, like social media, they just say we got a batch.
Not even that. People who have corgis and when they get too old, get rid of them. And then there's literally like nonprofits for adopting out like senior corgis. And like zero excuses for these people. Like I'm sure a part of it is like the medical bills get very expensive because like corgis have like hip problems and stuff like that. But I'm also like, no, if you sign up for a dog, like you sign up for life. And I'm just like, I will start crying if I think about the idea of like how a dog feels.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
How would you deal with like having to put your animal down?
Not well.
Okay, so you know what I really hate? I hate it when like a people like when you have to do it, you have to do it. And when the people who do it, they're like, oh, I can't be here right now. I can't see this.
Oh, I would be in the fucking room.
I know. It's like, that makes me feel bad.
Like, because like otherwise the dog isn't going to see like
because think about the perspective of the animal. They're like, what the fuck is going on? And then you just walk away. It's like, where's my person? What happens?
The last thing.
Yeah. So
I'd be in the room sobbing with them. That's what my mom did with my first childhood dog. I was asleep when this happened.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, it's almost like I'd rather do it myself. I'd literally rather no, fuck you. Like if it's gonna be like this, like no.
Some of the Brittany Dawn scandals. Anyway.
No, I mean it's like, dude, it's almost fucked up. Like why?
I couldn't do it myself. I would.
It's either I do it myself or we're not doing this. I don't care if the.
I've also been in situations where it's been so like my grandma's Shih Tzu. His name.
I mean, you know what? Dogs are different because dogs are literally bred in fucked up ways. Cats though, I feel like cats could live it out. Cats
Okay,
could whatever
so,
the
like,
cats
I guess
have. Like,
situation though with this though, where it has been done at home, and I feel like it was okay. This was a Shih Tzu.
oh, this is a heavy story.
Oh, it's actually. I mean, it's not.
We're talking about a homebrew euthanization. All right, I'm all for it. All right, let's
I mean,
go.
I guess it's. Oh God, you say that, and I'm like, wait, did I just like suppress that? No, I don't know. But I mean, long story short, my
Yeah.
grandma had a Shih Tzu who was like, over 10 years old. Shih Tzus don't live that long.
No, they don't. They're genetic
And
freaks.
seemed fine. I think she took him to the vet. The vet said things were fine, and like a couple days later, like kind of, or was going to, and based off of the symptoms, the vet said don't worry about it. But then a couple days later, it really spiraled. And here's the dark part: it must have been Christmas Eve, because Italian Americans, we do Christmas Eve, the proper Christmas.
Yes. Go to
also,
mass.
I'm black, in case anyone was confused.
Go to mass.
Yeah, thankfully not that. My whole family is Italian and gay, so the whole Catholicism thing, we don't really like that. But anyway, on fucking Christmas, this Shih Tzu decides this is the day where it's like, this is gonna be my last day on Christmas.
Yes.
I know, like, didn't literally decide it, but was
But
like,
the Shih Tzu just knew. He's like,
Just is like,
I'm on my
Christmas?
way out.
Christmas, this is the day. If you knew the Shih Tzu, I'm just like, you know what, little dude, you have your holiday. But how it ended up happening was like he was clearly like barely lucid. He like didn't seem like he was in like a ton of pain, but he also didn't necessarily, from my perspective, seem like he had the freaking spoons to articulate whatever he was in. So somebody had a 1 milligram Xanax, and he went peacefully in about 20 minutes. And this was Sebastian's first Christmas with the family.
Oh
So then
no!
Sebastian
He had to see this, like, his brother and his
Sebastian just like met this dog who the two of them got along great, and that Sebastian hates dogs. Remy hates dogs.
and he's like,
They saw each other. They looked at each other. They had a mutual agreement. I stay here. You stay there. Never fought. Nothing. And every time, like the couple of times they saw each other, just like, yeah, looked at each other. Were like, that's it, and moved on. Like both houses, my grandma's house, our house, like just mutual agreement
in
of
the
like
middle
we don't fuck
of
with
the
each other.
street. Yeah.
But yeah, that was Sebastian's first Christmas with us, was seeing another dog die. And I'm glad he stuck around, Sebastian. But not that he had much choice. If he tried to run away, I'd just scoop him up.
Yeah.
He weighs like 8 pounds. But yeah, so that was a situation where I feel like that was appropriate. It's Christmas. There's no vet's offices open and all of that. And I saw this dog pass, and there was no like struggle or anything like that. There wasn't like when you think about benzos and things, like maybe you like vomit, aspirate, something like that. Just fell asleep.
Damn.
But like taking a dog and shooting the dog like on sight,
Old Yeller shit. Yeah.
like I could not do that. I don't know if I could do that to a dog. Even the Xanax thing, I would just take them to the vet and like let them make that call, and then I'd stay in the goddamn room, because like I can empathize with why somebody would leave the room, but that does not mean I support
Agree- yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't
It's
agree
a-
with
it's a
it, but I
cowardly way.
understand why you did it.
I mean, look at him. Like, dude, I've known him since he was a baby. I could never leave him to die on his own. Like, I would be there with him.
Yeah.
Which is why I would do it myself. It's like, no, fuck you. I'm not gonna let you guys touch him. I'll do it. All right. Like, I'll do it.
Circumstantial. I'm like, if it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You know, it's funny too. Like, I always thought like my familiar, my animal familiar, would be like a faithful dog, you know, who would fight battles with me. But no, this is
it's
a
a
little,
cat who's just asleep on you right now.
this is a little boy, fucking little shithead. He likes to bury his head in my shit.